Okay, so I'm heading over to Lutz, and that's at 8.1 DME, um, and I'm currently at 9.1, so I missed Lutz. So I'm going to have to come back around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fly up and intercept the radial and then come back. So I'm going to come back in on the 063 radial and intercept Lutz. So yeah, I'm reverse sensing on the 063 radial. I could flip it around so I'm at the 243 radial, but I'll just backtrack reverse sensing. And I'm looking on my DME, and my DME has to be at 8.1, and then I'll be at Lutz. And then I'll do a procedure turn and come around and come in on the localizer approach runway 17 to Aurora. So we're almost there. And I've missed it again. And I'll set this up. Just remind me that it's 17. So the localizer is off to my left right now, and I'm getting dangerously low. So I'm going to climb up again now. So when I'm on the 035 radio at 14.1 DME, I should be out at Mokii. So what we're doing now is we're going to fly out on this radial, the 035 radial, till we get to 14.1 DME. Then we'll do a procedure turn and come back in on the localizer. So we're on the 35 radial now. We're a little bit left of it. So I'm going to ease it over to the right a little bit to capture that. And I'm at 14.1 DME. I'll be over Mokii. And as I get closer to Mokii, you should see the localizer CDI line up with the center of the instrument also. So essentially, the aircraft should level out at 4,500 if I have the autopilot armed correctly, and I think it is. So I think pretty soon you're going to see my vertical speed start to reduce and my airspeed start to increase. No, Yes, see there? I'm not touching the controls. That's the autopilot that's doing that. The airspeed's increasing and the vertical speed is coming to 0. So I'm going to back off the RPM a little bit here. Bring it back down to about 22. I'm watching the DME. Adjust our track a little bit, and I'm watching the localizer, waiting for the localizer to come alive. Lean the mixture out a little bit. Okay, 14.1. So we're coming up on Monkey. This localizer should start to move towards the center, or the CDI on the localizer should start move towards the center pretty soon, and then it'll happen quite rapidly. We're almost online on the radial. We'll ease over a little bit. Speed's pretty good. About a half a... Okay, there we go. You can see how the localizer's coming alive. So we're going to bring her around to 3.5. Or intercept 3.5. And we're going to get our timer ready here. And we're going to start a minute timer on the outbound. We're roughly on track here. Bring this around to 3.5 to line up with the localizer. And there we are at a minute. So then we're gonna turn 25 degrees and fly that for a minute. There we go. I started a timer. So we're gonna fly out on this leg for a minute. We're going to turn around and come back in at the reciprocal, which will be 145, and we'll come back on the reciprocal for about 45 seconds, and then we'll turn and we'll join the localizer inbound. Now you see how we're turning to the left and the CDI is moving away from us to the left. That's because we are reverse sensing. "51 seconds, 55 seconds. Okay, so we'll begin our tune, and we're going to turn to the reciprocal of our heading now, so 145. So we're turning to 145. And we're going to get ready to change our timer. Actually, you can see we're lined up now on the localizer, so we're just going to bring it around to 170 right now. And we're pretty much lined up. So when the VOR lines up at 35, when we're on the 35 degree radial from Newburgh, we will be at Mokai and we'll start our descent. So this CDI will line up at 35 when we're lined up at Mokai, and we'll start our descent. So I can come down to 35 right now. I'm going to do that. There we are. We must have a little bit of wind from our right that's blowing us off course here. And we're going to back off our speed a little bit more. Okay, so we're almost lined up on the localizer, and you can see how we're approaching the radial at Moki. Okay, so the next altitude I'll need is when I get to Moki, the next one I'll drop at the next point will be Lutz, and Lutz I have an altitude of 2,600. So when we intercept the radial 35, we'll reset the altimeter for 26, and we'll set a new radial of 063. You can see how we're easing back over to the left. We're on a heading of 170, so we must still have a little bit of wind coming in from the right. So I'm going to bracket over to 175, and hopefully we can maintain this heading. Okay, so we're at Moki now. So I'm going to set a new altitude of 26, and we're going to descend again. .400 feet per minute, and I'm going to reset a new radial to 063. So when the CDI lines up in the center, that means we will be at Lutz. because we'll be on the radio 063 coming out from Newburgh. And looks like we pegged that the ILS fairly close. Now we've got our RPMs down quite low, so I'm going to throw my carb heat on. I'm going to anticipate that will slow my speed down somewhat, so I'm going to get ready to put a little bit more power back in. My descent rate's a bit fast, so I may arrest that. I may slow that descent rate up a little bit. Everything looks good here. So when I get to LUTs, I'm going to put in 10% of flaps, and I'm going to configure it for landing. And I'll turn my my landing lights on. I'll check my my gas, my mixture, make sure my undercarriage is down. Seatbelts are fastened. So we're wandering a little bit over to the left. So I'm going to ease, wandering a little bit to the right rather. I'm going to ease the aircraft back over to the left just slightly. I'm keeping an eye on my my altimeter here. Okay, you can see how she's leveling out. We've done a dive and drive. We're not quite at LUTs yet, so I'm going to fly at this altitude, no lower than 2,600 until I get to LUTs. And I know I'll be at LUTs because the CDI will intercept the center on this nav radio. Take a look outside, see if I can see yet. No, can't see. So I'll do my radio call here. So I know I'm coming into Aurora, and I know I'm between 8 and 14 out. I'm guessing I'm about 10, so I'm going to call 10 miles out in my altitude, and that I'm inbound for 17. Aurora traffic. The Cessna 18677. Final for 17 at 10 miles out, 2,600 Aurora. Okay, you can see how the CDI has started to move towards the center now, so I'm getting a lot closer to LUTs. When I get to LUTs, I'm going to reset the altimeter for 1,000, and I'll dump my flaps 10, and I'll set the radio for 089. So I can set my my new altitude of 1,000 because the plane won't start to descend until I hit the vertical speed. And I'm all primed and ready to enter in a new radial of 089 here. Watching my speed. Watching my alignment. So we're going to come a little bit over to the right again. There we are. So we'll begin our descent to the next one. Arm. So we're starting to descend. 0, and we're going to change it to the radial 089. We're good on the localizer. So we'll double check our mist, and our mist will be we're gonna climb until we hit 900, and then we're gonna turn left, heading 050 degrees to 4000, and then we'll set a course to Battleground. Battleground's already in, so that's pretty good. Now, 1,000 feet is as low as we can go without being able to see the airport. We're getting close to 1,000, so we want to be able to see fairly soon. We're close to 2,000. So we can increase our descent rate just slightly here. Our alignment's a little bit off to the right, so we're going to bring the aircraft over to the left. We'll do a quick check of the QNH. So the QNH at Aurora is 2995, which is what we had it set to before. Still 2995. Just easing the plane back onto the lateral alignment. We're going to reduce our speed now. Drop 10 degrees of flaps. Bring it down to 70 knots. Okay, you can see how we have passed Fidov. So we could be at 1,000 feet right now. So we can come down to at least 1,000 feet because we just passed Fidov. I'm going to drop another 10 degrees of flaps. Give it a little bit more power in here. And I'm going to take control, manual control of the plane. Turning the autopilot off. And we're at 1,000. We're hoping to break out. There's the lights. I can just see them. My speed's a little bit low. I want to bring it back up to 70 knots. I do a final check. Make sure that the landing gear's down, and it is. So this is exciting because I'm using real world weather today. I haven't customized this weather for this flight. Aurora traffic. Cessna 18677, short final 17, full stop. Aurora traffic. So the time down is 9:17. Get clear of the runway here. Check both ways. Nothing coming. There we go. So, flight's logged. Clean up the plane. Bring my flaps up. Get a little bit of mixture. Carb heat off. Landing light off. And we can taxi over to the parking right after we do our final call. Aurora traffic. Cessna 1677. Clear the runway. Aurora. I think I was on the wrong radio frequency here. Aurora traffic. Cessna 18677, clear the runway, Aurora. And there we go. So that's the flight for today. Thanks for watching.